Mars in Capricorn. This is going to be the second of the universal signs. With Mars in Capricorn, I would call them aggressively calculating. That's a very good thing. This is a great position to have. It's exalted here, and that's because you guys know how to get things done. You know how to compartmentalize, you know how to create a schedule, you know how to not get too emotional about one little detail, but to keep to the schedule and stay on task. A Mars in Capricorn is often a great leader because they know how to stay level-headed about things. They don't get too frazzled, and their work ethic is top-notch. There's not much that could compete with their work ethic. They usually don't have time for boasting or talking about what they're going to do or going on Facebook and telling everybody about what they're up to because they're just too busy doing it. They actually genuinely enjoy work. And that's why they're so good at doing it. For a lot of people, work is something you have to do and you try to make it fun, but you really don't like it. And that's why there's constant pushing deadlines or showing up late or whatever. But here, there's a genuine love of work, as long as you have the right job, of course. A Capricorn in Mars reaches the goal. They don't leave projects half-baked, and they also know how to delegate. They're not afraid to reach out to other people. Hey, can you do this portion for me? Because this is not my strong suit, which is another reason why they're a really good leader. Obviously, Mars in Capricorn is often a sign of somebody who's going to be very financially successful. For them, ambition is not something showy. It's not because you want people to like you. It's not because you have some kind of insecurity or whatever. Your ambition is because you just love work. You have that focus like a laser. It's like when you throw a ball, you don't look at the ball, you look at where you're throwing it. A Mars in Capricorn is constantly looking at the target. Eye on the prize. They don't really see the difference between a bad task and a good task. Let's say balancing a checkbook, people would think, oh, that's a bad task. Doing laundry, cleaning baseboards, something that you're like, ugh, I'll put that off until later. Most people see a good task as like public speaking, being able to dress up for an award show, or the day that you get your paycheck. Those are seen as good tasks. But to a Capricorn and Mars, every workday, every task is just another portion of the goal. You can't bypass one to get to the other. This is kind of why Capricorn is seen as a universal sign. It's more of a holistic picture about things. Somebody that has a lot of Capricorn placements or somebody that has a Mars in Capricorn is probably likely to contemplate what work really is and what work really means to them. They'll think about work and accomplishment on a very deep level, deeper than most people do. And who knows, they might write a book about how to be successful because they have thought so much about this, all of the whys and hows. A Mars in Capricorn is drawn to security. No surprise there. And they really have no trouble getting there. So even if they're raised poor or they're raised with a family that's not very educated, they often are just very, very savvy. They just naturally have a knack for this. Tempers, because of course Mars is all about doing energy. It can often be how we express our anger and when we are frustrated. They're interesting because they kind of have this eerie calm about them at all times. Getting one riled up, they are riled up. They don't show it in the same way other people do. They show it in a very cool and calculating approach. They will think through every word, and they will show the most self-control you have ever experienced in your life, which could be kind of frustrating. They're more likely to show their disdain in terms of actions, like firing somebody if they're not doing their work, or just defriending somebody. They're not usually likely to be a hothead that has to get involved in some kind of showdown or some kind of throwdown or whatever you would call it with the trolls on the internet. A Mars in Capricorn is always going to take the higher road. One of the few downsides for a Capricorn in Mars is that because they have such an affinity for work, and that is just the language of their action, they can often become workaholics. Work is one of their loves, but if other areas of their life aren't going as well, they can just dive more and more into work as a way of retreating and escaping from other things. Depending on your chart, that's one of the few downsides of having a Mars in Capricorn. And you know how it goes. The old saying is, when things are good at work, things are bad at home, and when things are good at home, things are bad at work. For a Mars in Capricorn, hopefully there's other placements that help out with that private life aspect. because being so good at work, it can be very easy to just ignore all the other components. One of the other few downsides of some Mars and Capricorns is that they can have a chip on their shoulder, kind of feeling like they're better than other people because they are the leader, they're more capable. There can be a bit of an ego here. And with that ego could be an enjoyment of controlling others. This is one of those placements that can get power crazy because power does come naturally to them. Be very careful karmically of how you use your power. And I don't just mean that for your future self, but I mean that for the here and now. The more that you become boastful, the more you become isolated. Nobody really ever thinks about that, but if you imagine a pyramid and the person on the very top is the leader, down here are all the little worker bees, this person is very far from these people. The boss is not really friends with all the people that work for them. True connection is what alleviates loneliness. You can never buy people. It never alleviates the loneliness. Okay, off the soapbox now. Sexually, this position is kind of funny because often this could be the person who likes to let go here in this area of their life. In their day-to-day, they are the boss. And so sometimes a Mars in Capricorn indicates a kind of dominatrix-y kind of relationship where they are the one who wants to be submissive to other people. This is the one time in their life that they experience that. A Mars in Capricorn also sexually might kind of have the office fetish, office style fantasies. There's that attraction to like the suit and tie and the elegant dress, and I guess here it would be 50 Shades of Grey. Sexually it's more mature, serious, intense, and it plays and ping-pongs between guarded and vulnerable. Mars in Capricorn does carry themselves very powerfully in their day-to-day life. Letting that guard down is a very cathartic thing for them. Some people with this placement actually don't feel a lot of sexual energy. The reason for that is that they put this energy and they transfer it into all of their goals and their pursuits. There's nothing left that is stored. All of that passion goes into some form of work. Sexually, they could also be a bit more rigid, like more by the book, an order to things. This is a position that makes them feel vulnerable, which is, like I said, cathartic, but also not the easiest thing for them. They typically choose partners that are not going to be kissing and telling. This is not something that they are comfortable with. They really would not want all of their sexcapades to be repeated. They are very, 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 very private about this area of their life. They might even have a secret lover, even if they are single, and just not tell their friends and family. Keep this area of their life very, very guarded. A Mars in Capricorn feels a strong need to be dependable. Their word is their bond, so they are not comfortable with dropping the ball. And if they do, it makes them feel terrible. Mars in Capricorn is extremely critical of themselves. They hold themselves to a very high standard, and this is exactly why they are able to achieve so much in their life. If you are a woman with a Mars in Capricorn, you're probably attracted to a man who is extremely good at what he does, very level-headed. He's somebody who can run things. He's someone who is not all over the place, is very mature, disciplined. Sometimes this could be a man who is a lot older, sort of the sugar daddy kind of thing. There's an attraction to wealth. There's an attraction to good looks. Like I said, this kind of is the 50 Shades of Grey placement. Success is attractive. Being able to see something through is attractive. Being responsible is extremely attractive. So hope you guys liked my take on Mars and Capricorn, and come back for the next video.